Alright guys, this is going to be my reviews from this past week. I've decided that in addition to doing just the singles that I read, I'm going to talk a little bit about the trades that I've read as well. This is the stack, so I'm going to get right through it. You guys know the drill. I try to avoid spoilers as much as I can, but the timestamps will be down below in case you don't want to hear anything about the books that I'm talking about. Yeah, so I'll do all my singles first, and these are in no particular order. They're kind of in whatever order I'm pulling them out of the stack. First, we have Helheim issue 6, the conclusion to the first miniseries. We're hearing that there's going to be, well, obviously there's going to be more stories with Ricard following this issue. The last page tells us that. It felt a little bit rushed to me. I know that Helheim's always been heavy on action, a little bit light on story, and you know that's always been the norm. But it felt like they tried to pack a lot of stuff into one final issue, and you know it's not too big of an issue for me, but it felt a little strange. My big worry moving forward with this book is whether or not Joelle Jones comes back on and does art for the next miniseries, because at least to me that is the big selling point for this book. You're basically buying an art book, Joelle Jones' art plus a little bit of story. It's been really light on story, so I would I don't think I would enjoy it as much if another artist were to do this with Cullen Bunn. So a good conclusion to the series. I would say maybe my least favorite of all of them so far, just because it felt a little rushed and jam-packed, but I enjoyed the series as a whole, and I can't wait until we get another mini, whenever that is. Next, we have Swamp Thing number 23, the conclusion to the Whiskey Tree story arc, which I will say that I'm enjoying Charles Soule's run, at least thus far, more than Scott Snyder's. I think the Swamp Thing stories are working well. They're short. The story arcs are 2 and 3 issues. And he's moving from story to story, and I'm enjoying it a lot. We're getting the Cedar stuff that's going on, and he kind of started this whole confrontation between Swamp Thing and Constantine, and we didn't see any more of them. But we've gotten teasers for upcoming issues, starting with 24. 23.1 will be the September will be the Arcane issue, which I am picking up. But I'm excited to see more stuff with Cedar. I will say that I was slightly disappointed by the Constantine Swamp Thing conclusion in this book. It felt a little anticlimactic, but I'm not going to complain about that too much. Charles Soule has been doing a really kick-ass job on this book since he took over, and I'm glad that somebody's on that book doing Swamp Thing justice. And next, a book that I felt kind of meh about. I've been enjoying it since issue 21. That's Green Lantern number 23. Hal's out hunting this new Star Sapphire who escaped from the prison on Oa, and I really liked issue 21 and 22, but I felt myself becoming a little bored with issue 23. I don't really care about. I don't have as much of an interest in Hal and his relationships and things of that nature. I kind of just want to see some Green Lantern action. So I don't know. I mean, this isn't a book that I'm planning on dropping, but issue 23 was not, as great as issue 21 and 22 were, I would definitely say. Next, we have Trillium number 1, Jeff Lemire doing the art and the story. This book was absolutely phenomenal. It's exactly what I expected it to be. It's a flip book, as as you guys have heard. Everybody's been talking about this at length, so I'm not gonna do it too much. But I'm just gonna say that you get this, the book's written from the perspective of this scientist and also from a soldier, and they somehow meet in the middle. The flip book, it tells it tells a story from each of their perspective, and they meet. And I'm most interested in finding out how exactly they do end up in the same timeline. Jeff Lemire's artwork, is unique, definitely. I guess it wouldn't be everybody's thing, but it's something that I enjoy a lot, and I cannot wait to read the rest of this. I think it's an 8-issue miniseries, so fantastic, exactly what I expected. Definitely, potentially my book of the week. And then next we have Phantom Stranger number 11, Trinity War tie-in. I will say that this was my favorite Trinity War tie-in, at least thus far. Phantom Stranger and Katana and Deadman and Batman go into the afterlife. They're looking for Dr. Light. And, you know, you get to see a little glimpse of both Katana and Batman's heaven, so to speak. And they go to, they go and talk to Dr. Light, and it progresses the Trinity War story as well. But what I enjoyed most about this book and also the Constantine book is that it not only is a tie-in with the Trinity War, but it also progresses the story of the book that it is in. Constantine, it continued his I forget exactly what happened at the end of that book, but in this story, you have some tie-ins with what he went through with his family and with the angel that's confronted him in heaven, and you get to the end of the book, and it's giving you an idea where Phantom Stranger is going to go when issue 12 comes out, not just the Trinity War. So definitely my favorite tie-in so far. Great book. Phantom Stranger is a title that I'm really enjoying, and we'll see what happens. I hope that they keep the continuity tight, at least with this book. It seems like Phantom Stranger should not be in the rest of the Trinity War books unless they explain how he comes back in. So we'll see what happens with that. And then finally, we have Green Arrow number 23, probably my cover of the week. This is a book that I enjoy every single time that it comes out. We have a lot more story development with Shadow and with Ollie's dad and the outsiders and all that stuff that's going on. Komodo. The artwork is badass in this book, like always. We get a lot of backstory, but with the relationship between Shadow and Ollie's father. I will say that this is probably my least favorite issue of this book since 17. I don't know why that is. I just wasn't feeling as excited about it as I usually am, but that by no means it was a bad issue. They bring it back, and we see the third dragon, I'm assuming, is in Seattle, and it seems like Ollie is going to be coming back to Seattle at for issue 24 after the Count Vertigo Villains Month issue. So anyway, it was a very good issue. Not at least as far as I'm concerned, not on par with the issues that have come out recently, but this by no means makes me like this book any less. Since issue 17, it's been absolutely amazing, and I still cannot wait to read the next issue. And then that does it for my single issues. I also read some trades this weekend, went on a little mini vacation, and I had some time to catch up on some stuff. My to-read pile has been piling up, so I decided it was time to get through it. I did a reread of Alan Moore's Saga of the Swamp Thing, Volume 1. This collects issues 20 through 27, and I was quickly reminded why Swamp Thing became my favorite character and why this became my favorite run of all time. Very smart, very cerebral in Alan Moore's writing, and Bissett and Totalman's artwork, fits it perfectly. The first story arc is, deals with the Floronic Man and sort of Swamp Thing's new origin as far as Alan Moore is concerned. And then the second story deals with this little demon monkey thing, which I think is awesome. And there's an Etrigan Jason Blood appearance. So this is definitely my favorite story, collection of my favorite stories of all time, and I'm glad to be able to reread this. When I read it the first time, I borrowed it from a friend, and Swamp Thing instantly became my favorite character. So I'm going out and picking up all those volumes and giving them a reread. I have Volume 2 up on the shelf, so that'll be on the list shortly. And then next I read Fatale Volume 1. This came from Kevin, the Spins 1390. He said that he thought that I would enjoy this, and he was absolutely right. It's a blend of noir and horror type themes, paranormal type stuff, and that's some stuff that I really, really enjoy. I will say that starting out, you're kind of bombarded with all this information and all these characters, and there's multiple timelines going on, and so it's a little hard to follow, at least when you first start reading the book, but Ed Brubaker does an amazing job of sort of wrapping up all that stuff. By the time that issue 5 closes, you are completely aware of who all these characters are and exactly what's going on, and I thought that was absolutely amazing to go from, being sort of overwhelmed in issue 1 and issue 2, not knowing who these characters are and what the hell is going on, and then when you get to the end of issue 5, it all makes sense, and I thought this was fantastic. I'm going to be picking up the next 2 volumes in the next week or so, because I can't wait to read them. I think it's on issue 18 or something, I want to say, 17 or 18. And I'm going to keep reading that in trade. I'm not going to pick up the singles. I'm going to be, a lot of Image books I'm going to be switching to reading in trade. Saga is one I'm switching to reading that in trade. I just feel like they read so well in that format, and they're books that I feel I can wait for. So, and then finally, this has been on my shelf for forever. Batman: The Long Halloween, Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. It's about a killer who commits crimes that coincide with holidays. He is, the media names him Holiday. I found it, amazing that this book is so all-inclusive in terms of main Batman characters. I feel like everybody is in here. I mean, you got Catwoman and Poison Ivy and the Riddler, the Joker. I'm sure a lot of you know this is sort of a new origin for Two-Face, so you get some Harvey Dent stuff. The Dark Knight is very obviously based on this. Of course, you got Commissioner Gordon stuff. It's just, there's so many characters smashed into this book that I think it makes for some really interesting storytelling, and a lot of the story deals with the conflict between the Falcone and the Maroni family, which usually I'm not super interested in, but I think this book did a fantastic job. So I need to pick up. I think Dark Victory is the sequel to this, so I need to pick this up, or pick up Dark Victory at some point. But those are my books for this week. Just my thoughts on them. Be back on Wednesday with my haul video. Big thanks to anybody checking out this video. It's humbling to know that so many of you are interested in what I think about the books that I read. So big thanks to anybody who's out there watching, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.